A few days ago, Automobilista 2 came out with their version 1.3.5 update that brought with it a host of new changes, but most importantly, the much-anticipated Formula Ultimate 2022. I've been driving it for a few days, and I have a review here for you today. Just starting off, I'd like to begin with the force feedback. It feels fairly satisfying. I feel like there's a little bit lost in the fine details. And overall, the resistance isn't much, although that might be because my wheelbase is not the strongest. However, you can really feel the downforce and the load on the tires shifting through the corners. You can feel the stiffness of the wheel increase at higher speeds. You can feel all the little details that you would expect to feel through force feedback. Now, I'm not sure how much of this is car specific and how much of it is just Automobilista 2 having good force feedback, but I do want to commend them on that. I just have to say, the feeling of the immense downforce on these new cars is just phenomenal. I mean, you can take corners at incredibly fast speeds, and the feeling of the ground effect as you're going through them is just amazing. Through the force feedback and through the reaction of the car, I feel like they've modeled the downforce really well, and it also shows that the Formula 1 cars in real life are fun to drive. Because when you're like flinging this thing around at 150 miles an hour through a corner that on any other car you'd really have to slam on the brakes for, it feels so good, so rewarding. One thing I noticed is that this car is extremely finicky under braking. If you press the brake pedal a little bit too much, as brakes do, the brakes will lock up. However, if you go a little bit past that, it's incredibly easy to lock up the rear brakes, causing you to spin. This may again be just me because I've recently adjusted my brake pedal setup somewhat, so I'm still in the process of getting used to it. However, it does feel rather uninviting to someone who may not be very experienced. It takes a lot of practice to be able to nail exactly the right amount of braking input to give going into corners. However, it does feel extremely satisfying when you are able to do it. And there's a decent amount of engine braking as well, so simply downshifting into some corners is enough to get the slowdown that you need in order to have a perfect turn-in. Moving on to traction. Applying traction is fairly reasonable. It seems, to me at least, what realistic would be. It's not too hard to lose the rear, although it is quite understeery. Another thing I like is the lack of the porpoising that real-life Formula 1 cars experience, because from what we've seen from onboards, it makes the cars harder to drive. So it is good to see that in the Automobilista version, the porpoising is not modeled, although that does diminish the realism a little bit, but I think it's a worthwhile trade-off. When it comes to the sound, from the off-board view, the sound sounds phenomenal. It sounds just like it does in real life. The only little comment I have about the sound is the onboard downshifting does not sound that realistic. It's okay enough. It gets the job done, although I feel like it's not the same quality as the off-board and other such sounds. However, overall, I think they've done a quite good job with the sound. When it comes to modding support for adding custom car skins, liveries, whatnot to the game, the small but dedicated Automobilista 2 community is already working on some skins, as you can see in the gameplay videos. I think we have Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, Alpine, and Aston Martin already, and obviously more are coming on the way, so I'll keep those resources updated in the comments if anyone wants them, because the experience of the game is enhanced by having the realistic skins. In terms of how easy this car is to drive, I'd say it falls somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, because the extra downforce makes it quite reliable, and getting on the power, once you master it, does become quite easy after a while. However, under braking and in certain tight corners, it is incredibly easy to lock up. Overall, this is a very well done car by the Reiza Studios team. It's a very welcome addition to Automobilista 2. It keeps the game fresh and updated to the present, and it's been an absolute blast to drive. Probably one of my favorite cars in the game that I've tried so far. Thank you for viewing. Comment down below any thoughts, opinions on the car yourself, and I will see you in the next one.